U.S. stocks looked set to drop at the open on Monday as oil prices slid and as global trade tensions continued to escalate following further threats from U.S. President Trump. At 12:20 BST, Dow Jones Industrial Average futures were down 0.7%, while S. Trump has threatened to curb Chinese investments in the U.S. for reasons of national security, with a draft series of restrictions on inbound Chinese investments due to be published later in the week. Owanda analyst Kreger Lamb said, the latest measures are set to focus on technology transfers, with Trump apparently preparing to stop some Chinese companies investing in U.S. tech firms while also blocking tech exports to China. Trump also threatened at the end of last week to impose a 20% tariff on all European cars after the EU began implementing tariffs on Friday on $3.2 billion of U.S. imports. Owanda analyst Kreger Lamb said, a new week is underway and yet the same concerns remain as Donald Trump ramps up trade threats against China and the EU, which continues to take its toll on risk appetite. Investors may be feeling very uneasy about the approach being taken by the U.S. president, but Trump is showing no sign of shying away from a trade war, instead threatening more tariffs on those that retaliate to those already imposed. It's very much the relaxed manner in which Trump and others appear willing to allow this to escalate that makes investors so nervous. The latest measures are set to focus on technology transfers, with Trump apparently preparing to stop some Chinese companies investing in U.S. tech firms while also blocking tech exports to China. The EU is also being targeted by Trump, with the president threatening tariffs on auto imports if it pushes ahead with its own countermeasures. Needless to say, neither side is looking like backing down on this, and in the near term, it's the companies that are suffering, as is clearly evident with European automakers today. Meanwhile, energy-related shares were likely to take a hit as Brent crude gushed lower after an initial surge following OPEC's decision last Friday to boost production, trading down 1.5% to $74.44 a barrel. In corporate news, Harley-Davidson said the EU tariffs are likely to have an impact of $90 million to $100 million on an annual. The company also said it would move production of EU-bound motorcycles to international facilities from the U.S. to avoid the tariffs. General Electric was likely to be in focus following a report that it is closing in on a deal to sell its industrial engine unit to Advent International for $3 billion. Elsewhere, Education Realty Trust looks set to rise at the open after announcing it has agreed to be bought by Greystar Student Housing Growth and Income Fund in an all-cash deal valued at around $4.6 billion. The data front, the Chicago Fed National Activity Index for May is at 13:30 BST, while new home sales are at 1500 BST.